kindly request you to please stay back on stage. I'd also request Mr. Anurag Batra, Mr. Naval Ahuja, Mr. R.S. Sodi to please join Mr. Narayanan on stage because we're getting set for the Indian Marketing Awards, and the very first category is the Lifetime Achievement Award, no less. Let's find out who. But before we do that, can I hear, can this audience make some noise? Is that the best that you can do? Where is, so we believe that the spirits should be high. Where are the spirits? Are they rolling, Sonia? Where is the alcohol? We need to get you guys on top of your game because like Mr. Batra mentioned, of course, clapping is very good for the heart, and we're also in the land of karma. I love to use this one. If you're not going to be appreciating the people who are here, nobody's going to be appreciating you. So can we hear it out loud, please, before we set the ball rolling? And let's find out who the Lifetime Achievement Award winner is for IMA 2016.
In choosing the Lifetime Achievement Awards, the jury really had a very tough task. Each one of the nominees are men of outstanding caliber. It's truly an inspiring moment for me to share the name of Mr. Mariwala, who is known not only for having created one of the most professional and an outstanding organization of Marico, but of having contributed significantly to the growth of professionals in the marketing and in the business sphere for the country. We salute Mr. Mariwala for his many contributions and do hope that in the months and years ahead, his caliber, his contribution and his footprint will grow even larger, even bigger for the benefit of not only Marico, but also for the benefit of entire nation of Indians.
Mr. Harsh Mariwala leads Marico Limited as its chairman. He is also the chairman and managing director of Kaya Limited. Over the past 3 decades, Mr. Mariwala has transformed a traditional commodities-led business into a leading consumer products and services company in the beauty and wellness space. Mr. Mariwala's entrepreneurial drive and passion for innovation enthused him to establish the Marico Innovation Foundation. Mr. Mariwala also started Ascent, a not-for-profit expression of his passion to create a unique, trust-based peer-to-peer platform for high-potential growth stage entrepreneurs.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we hear it out loud for Mr. Harsh Mariwala? Somebody who joined the family business at about 75,000 odd US dollars and now to a $1 billion industry. His very first challenge being that of rats. Literally speaking, we'll hear more about this from Mr. Mariwala himself. May I request also Mr. CVL Srinivas to join us on stage to hand over the trophy to Mr. Harsh Mariwala, the Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Well, rats, yes, because the first brand that Mr. Mariwala established was Parachute Coconut Oil, which had a 15% market share, and how he challenged those rats to actually come up to 50% of the market share. Congratulations, Mr. Harsh Mariwala. We would definitely request Mr. Mariwala to address this August gathering, and then after that we request Mr. Batra to engage in a Q&A with Mr. Mariwala.
Thank you. Good evening to all of you. I'm overwhelmed. I'm very happy that the jury has thought of me in giving this award. I never expected this. This is my first so-called Lifetime Achievement Award. So I'm wondering whether my life is over or the working life is over. But nonetheless, I'm very, very happy. So I have been asked to talk in 10 minutes about my life's learning, and I think it's going to be very, very tough for me. So if Anurag, it is okay, can I extend it by maybe 5-7 minutes? Thank you so much. So I'll straight away dip into this, and I have identified 5 areas which have helped me in my own journey, and hopefully some of that would be relevant to all of you. So I think the first thing I realized in running a business or establishing business is that business has to have a very strong right to win. You have to have something which is very, very strong right to win, something which is differentiated. And if you look at our journey, whether it's Parachute, coconut oil, where our market share was in the range of 10-15%, we converted the whole market from tin to plastic. At one level, very easy. Plastic's cheaper than tins, plastic more attractive to look at than tins, more convenient to the consumer, but a huge trade resistance. And the trade was just not willing to stock coconut oil plastics because there was a leakage problem. Rats were biting that coconut oil, so we had to overcome that problem by designing a bottle which was a round-shaped bottle. We designed that bottle, ensured that there was no oil spillage, kept them in rat cages for a few days, took pictures, and with those pictures we went back to the trade. So it took almost 7-8 years for us to get the market converted from tin to plastics. I think that was very simple at one level, but it also meant that the execution was very, very important. And in innovation, it's just not ideation, but ideation combined with good execution, which makes a big, big impact. I think Parachute as a brand has innovated much more. Beyond that, we've innovated various forms of plastics, wide mouth bottle, 1 rupee mini bottle, a bottle which was difficult to copy in terms of duplicates. And I think that all that has helped the brand in terms of market leadership. If I look at our own brands, in 90% of our total turnover, we are market leaders. And I think that attribute is because we've chosen the right product portfolio. You know? So choose a product where you think you have right to win. And that you can do it by pioneering a concept, like we did in case of, say, Kaya Skin Clinics, nobody else. So we started Kaya Skin Clinics, we pioneered it. In case of Saffola also, position for heart, again pioneered. Or through innovation. We acquired a small brand from Procter & Gamble, Medical, which is anti-lice shampoo. And we said that can we actually launch that product in oil format? Because oil penetration at that time, 15-20 years back, was much higher than the shampoo penetration. We launched it within 6 months, our sales just doubled. Another area of innovation is when we launched Revive Fabric Starch. I, as a personal user of starch, I like starch clothes. I was feeling very frustrated because the process was very long at home. So we designed a product which was very easy for the consumer to starch products, starch the clothes. And of recent, we just launched Saffola Masala Oats. I must say we took a lot of learnings from Nestle, Maggi. We had a market share of about 15% in plain oats, and we said that we need to do something disruptive. So we realized that Indians like savory breakfast, they don't like sweet breakfast. So can we do what Maggi did to noodles? And that's how we launched a range of masala oats, and today we have a 70% market share in that category, which has grown quite well. So right to win happens because either you are pioneering, either you are innovating, or you're doing something, a combination of few things which make you stand out in the marketplace. But the key challenge is just not when you enter the market, but on a perpetual basis, how do you create right to win? That means once you arrive, once you have reached that level of market share, you have to go on working on your products, innovations, and ensure that you retain that market leadership. Otherwise, there will be competition and they will come and hit out at you. So there is a continuous process of innovations which each brand has to go through, and that will only help organizations to create right to win. Because of that logic, we have not entered into mainstream, say, shampoo products, because we don't have right to win compared to, say, Levers, Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal. They have not only one brand, but each of them have 3, 4 from brands. And if you don't have a strong right to win, then why should we enter that? So that was my first learning, right to win. The second, I think is one of the most important in any business, but more important in FMCG business is the importance given to talent and culture. Formation of Marico happened in 1990 when it took over consumer products business of Mariwala Industries, a family-owned, managed company. And when it took over Saffola and Parachute, turnover about 80 crores in 1990. I had a new organization and I had to recruit a whole team of people within a period of 6 months. I recruited something like 30, 40 managers from different backgrounds. But very quickly realized that we had become a melting pot of different cultures, because we had taken managers from MNCs, we had taken managers from Indian organizations, and each one came with his own set of beliefs in terms of how to treat people, how to treat products, how to treat profits. And that made me write down what the organization stands for. And I wrote something like random 30, 40 pages on my own and shared with my team. And that evoked a very positive response. We debated that note for almost 8-10 days. And at the end of that, we had a values document which had proper structure. We had divided into people, products, and profits. So what then? I think arriving at values is easier, but creating those values into culture is very, very difficult. And it requires a lot of effort, and it's a 3 to 5 year journey to build a strong culture within an organization. So we went to the next 2 layers of management, and we told them that this is something which we thought about, but we also want you to give your views on this. And we spent 2 days with them. We critiqued that document, and at the end of those 2 days, I think the most important learning for me was that when I involve people, I get their commitment. I could have prepared a document with some management expert, given it to everybody else, but it would have been my values. This became our values, and I think that was the most important thing, because in any culture building, the top 2-3 layers of management play a very important role. I've seen organizations where values are pasted on the reception, and when you ask people down the line, people start laughing that this is something only for management, and I didn't want that to happen. So what did we do next? I went to all the locations, all our factories, and talked about what are our values and how do we convert those values into culture. And based on all the dialogues I had at all the locations, we had a whole host of suggestions. And I'll just give you 1 or 2 small examples of what we did to reinforce those values, because for a culture to happen, your values have to be reinforced on a perpetual basis. Because people come and go, we'll have new people coming in and they have to buy into the culture. So if the values become a part of the organization in terms of processes on a perpetual basis, then people will realize that there is a culture which is existing within the organization. So at that time we were moving into a new office, and the brief given to the interior designer was that it should reflect openness. We are a very open organization, and that was one of the most important values. So open office. Then we have every year at every location, we have 1 full day planned with all the people who are there, whether it's a factory or a region or international country where we are present. And we talk about our last year's performance, what are our plans for next year, and then we have 1 open house for 2 hours, and people are encouraged to ask open questions. We send people to training programs to encourage openness as a style of leadership. So when you reinforce this openness from different angles, it becomes an open organization as a part of the culture. One more value, we are very trusting. So we said that how do we send that message that we trust our members? So way back in 1990, we did away with casually, we did away with sick leave. We said we trust you. If you're sick, you're sick, you take your sick leave. We don't calculate and we don't add all that to privilege leave. You just get 1 privilege leave. If you're sick or if you have casual work, you do your we trust you. You will maintain your own leave records. So each person maintains their own leave records. We did away with muster in the office, so no muster, we trust you. And in terms of expense statements, talking 20 years back, we did away with expense statements. If you incur any expense statement, you can self-authorize. You don't need to go to your boss. So these were organizations' way of giving that message that the organization is trusting you. And trust is a very important value within the organization. So these are 2 examples I've given. Our values cover openness, trust, empowerment, because empowerment was very important. We had to recruit talent from MNCs because all brand managers and good talent exists with them in FMCG. So we said to ourselves, what is unique about us which the MNCs are not able to provide? And we said that all the decisions in our case are taken in our headquarters in Bombay. As against that, in many multinationals, the headquarters are located somewhere outside India. So a lot of decisions get taken by somebody else who's sitting far away. And the empowerment levels are relatively lesser. And if you are able to empower our managers, then that will act as a very strong employee value proposition in terms of attracting talent. So empowerment is a very strong value for us. We have a very flat organization structure, so we are forced to empower, but we tend to invest a lot in recruiting good talent. Being a family-managed company, perception, we had to send a very strong message that everything will work on merits and influence will not work. So we had a value of meritocracy. So from day one, if anybody approaches me, at the most I can ask that person to be evaluated. But ultimate decision is the line decision in terms of recruitment or giving distributorship or anything which involves that person. So meritocracy is very important. We wanted to encourage risk-taking and innovation. So we said that we want experimentation and we will not punish failures. So we want to experiment, it's okay to fail. So I think basically the whole objective is to move towards innovation and encourage youngsters to take more risks. So that's our value and that's the culture, and basically we go on investing in talent. And the whole objective is whenever there's a vacancy, we try and say, can we actually fill that vacancy by a person who's a little more capable than the earlier incumbent. The third learning for me is growth. I think growth is very important for any organization. Growth is like an oxygen. It satisfies all the stakeholders, whether it's shareholders, whether it is employees, associates who are working with you, or customers. But growth has to be profitable and it has to be sustainable over a period of time. It cannot be 1 year you're growing, second year falling down, and it cannot be making losses all the time. It has to at some stage start making money. And the mindset of growth starts at the top, but the biggest challenge you have is how do you percolate your growth mindset all the way to the bottom, not only your own field force, but your distributors' field force. So they think of growth as and when there is an opportunity in the marketplace, they have to encash on that opportunity. So what do we do to send the right signals for growth? We've said that as far as new products is concerned, we will not have a short-term outlook. It's okay to not to break even for a period of 5-6 years for new products. If it comes to a new country, we will wait for more than 7-8 years. And if it is a new business like Kaya, we would wait for 10 years before making money. So that was a very strong signal given down the line that we want to go growth and not profit first. As long as we see that visibility of profit over a period of time, we should pursue growth first. So that's my third learning. The fourth is governance. I think especially in family-owned organizations, governance and otherwise also all organizations, governance has played a very, very important role in our journey. Because I think if you want to attract good talent, you have to be completely above the board. So from day one, we have done things the right way. And if you also want to attract good board of directors, again, governance plays a very important role. And separately, I as a promoter have a conflict. I'm a promoter and I also play the managerial role. So many times what is good for the promoter, what is good for the organization. And I always had a thumb rule that I think whenever that conflict occurs, I ask myself this question: what is good for the company comes first, and what is good for the promoter comes second. So just to give you a few examples, the brands, when we started Marico, were owned by another sister company, Bombay Oil Industries, and there were a lot of investors saying that this is not done, and all of a sudden you will withdraw the brands from Marico. So you have to, so basically we decided to sell the brands to Marico at a very low valuation because it is good for the organization and it will not good for the promoters. Separately, because it is good for the organization, the company will do well, it will get good valuation, so promoters also benefit in the bargain. One more example, recently, about 2.5 years back, I stepped down as managing director. I never thought that I will step down at the age of 63. And I'd kept myself a target of 65 years or so. So when my current MD came to me and said that I'm ambitious and I'm getting a lot of options, and not that he was trying to pressurize me, we have a very good relationship, so we were just chatting and saying that, but maybe now I need to move out because I want to head an organization and I don't know when I'll get that opportunity to be heading organization in Marico. So he left it at that, and then I discussed that with the board, and the board felt that it's better that we promote him, and it's better that I step down as managing director, because it was good for the company. So And looking back, it has been a very good decision. I think it has helped me reinvent myself in doing lots of new things, including thinking of starting a new business. So, not related to Mariwala or Kaya, but something else completely. So basically, I have enjoyed those last 2.5 years, and also it is reflected in very good results for the organization. But I think good for the organization first, and good for either the promoter or any stakeholder. And many times I think all of us are torn when we have a very good employee who has performed at one level, at one stage very well, but over a period of time, that person is not able to perform. And we cannot afford to have weak links in an organization, especially at senior levels. So when that happens, we said that, again, what is good for the organization comes first. Though he may be very loyal, he may be very good at one stage, but if that person is not able to perform up to the mark, it's better that we tell him to find some other options, not put him on roads, not like the big incident which you are all aware of, but separately, I think we give that person a time, 3 months, 6 months, find some other option, and we've done multiple times. My teams over a period of time have changed dramatically, because every 10 years or so the business has increased and teams have changed. So I've had 3 sets of teams over 30-40 years. So that's the governance piece, and last is purpose. I think organizations don't exist for shareholders, they exist for all the stakeholders. Business has a very, very important role to play in a society. We are a very integral part of the society, and we have to give something back to the society through all the stakeholders. So whether it is shareholders, whether it's your own employees, whether it's our associates we work with, or customers, or the society, because all of them are interlinked. You know, if you give something to your employees, it will go back to all other stakeholders. And we believe very strongly that we have to walk that extra mile in making that extra contribution to all our stakeholders. We call it be more every day, make a difference. So these are my learnings, and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. I request you to please stay back, and request Mr. Batra to engage in a Q&A with you, just a short Q&A, of course. Innovation, investment in talent, governance and purpose. I think there's a lot to take back home with what Mr. Harsh Mariwala just shared with us. And request Anurag now to take over.
Thank you, Suparna. Please give Mr. Mariwala a big round of applause. I'm sure as is customary to many lifetime achievement awards, we expect the person to go and do other things. I'm sure he'll continue to guide the purpose of Marico and do other things. So he's very fit. He's only got started. You know, he talked about the purpose of Marico, the purpose of an organization, the right to win, differentiated strategy, how talent and culture matter, how growth is the engine of an organization. He talked about openness, trust, how failure is important to be able to bring out the best eventually. And he talked about how profit motive is important, but purpose is more important. Now I want to ask him about something he did not talk about. I expected him to talk about, but I once went to see him early last year. In January, and I went to his office, met him, and he had a coach from Singapore, right? Yeah. And I asked him, I understand what a coach does, and I said, why do you need him briefly? And he said, Anurag, I want to make sure that I become redundant, right? Now I asked him, so what would you do if you became redundant? He said, I have an organization called Asset, and my mission is to create another 10,000 entrepreneurs. So Mr. Mariwala, I know you also have a family office called the Sharp Venture, which your son kind of looks after. Are Asset and Sharp Ventures working together? How are you creating more entrepreneurs?
So, I think there's corporate social responsibility and there's the personal social responsibility. So what I have done in the area of personal social responsibility is start this, one of the initiatives is Asset. Another initiative which we didn't talk about is helping patients who are suffering from mental health. So we have Mariwala Health Initiative. So these are the 2 things I started in the last 3-4 years. We have currently about 300 entrepreneurs based out of Bombay who are associated with Asset. We started on play last Saturday. The whole objective is to actually help entrepreneurs learn from each other. So we have created mechanisms where they work with each other in groups and they learn from each other, because mentoring individual entrepreneurs If you want to go in large numbers, it may be difficult because my target is 10,000. And we've just begun. And the feedback from the entrepreneurs is very, very positive. We support that by having knowledge gurus, we have enclaves, we have offsite, we have huddle sessions, mentoring. We have experts, so suppose we are enlisting people who can help you in different types of raising money or in terms of recruitment or talent or coaching. So basically they should have a tap for because most of the entrepreneurs they face issues relating to talent for people or money or how to deal with family or how to deal with the promoters. And I think this whole system helps them.
Fantastic. Because you've done that, you can guide them and show them the solution. Now, the Marico Innovation Foundation is another.
That's a part for corporate social responsibility.
And I was there in March when you did this year. Now, again, I was at the event and I saw that what you were saying here today, doing there in real action, had a huge signal. And again, that day you talked about purpose. Mr. Sodi talked about the fact that they're not here just to serve shareholders, in their case it's a cooperative. Do you think most corporate CEOs, and I know you're a promoter, so I'll let me make the distinction, but let's say board, CEOs, leader, really walking the talk. It's very fashionable to come to events like ours and say, and I'm not talking about you, I'm saying in general, do you see Indian corporate CEOs really walking the talk?
On the purpose front, yes. I think it just started just taking small roots. I think it's too early. There's a big movement happening in the US, it's one of the conscious capitalism movement, which is the book written by Rajsi Soria and Jagdish Sheth. And they have proven beyond doubt that those companies which are conscious capitalists, and they look at all the stakeholders, the financial performance is much better than other parameters like great companies and some other companies they compare with. The whole objective is to look at add value to each and every stakeholder and not just to shareholders. And they proved that those organizations which only look at shareholders very selfishly, they have actually gone down. So in India, to say that it has started taking some roots, it is a long way to go out. I think in brands, many brands have started having a purpose. In our case, we have had two brands where there is strong purpose, in Shanti Amla as well as Saffola, where we invest beyond. So in Saffola, we invest in heart care, education, and free cholesterol checkups and things like that. In Shanti Amla, we support education, parts of the profit. So, and we've seen a big impact on the brand. Brand scores have gone up, attributable shares have gone up, and the overall brand position has gone up much more because there is a certain purpose attached to the brand. But for those, are there many organizations which are doing it on a holistic basis? I think no. I think separately, sustainability has got a good traction now. People like a company like Levers and have started concentrating much more on sustainability. But I think purpose is beyond sustainability. I think it is to look at all the stakeholders and not just sustainability is important. I'm not saying that, but sustainability should be part of the purpose and not by itself.
You know, I'll ask you my last two questions because we have a huge list of awardees. Now, we saw what you did in the last 26 years of making Marico the company it became. What can we expect from you in the next 5-10 years? What can we expect Mr. Mariwala to do? And we'd like you to tell us some things that we don't know. We know about...
See, I think I have to now ensure that the company gets run by a professional board, which we have already taken a lot of steps. I want the company to continue in perpetuity, okay? So I need to create mechanisms where the company can continue in perpetuity. And there is a book written by an author known as Founders Mentality. Founders bring something to the table, something to the company. And when the founder goes away, those values which are critical for the future of the organization should be maintained. So what I have done and what I intend doing is that the values, the culture part, the purpose part, the strategy which is captured currently, it may change over a period of time, is actually the board should play an important role in measuring this unified model to ensure that the founder's mentality continues beyond. So that's one I'm talking about next 5-10 years. The other thing I want to give something much more to the society. So we just started, but a long way to go for Ascent, and the health initiative, mental health initiative. Separately, my son has launched a new line, just launched it, so I have to ensure that that takes off. And also, as I mentioned, I'm going to start a new business. I have to keep myself occupied.
I know it's very, mentally being active is very important for physical health. My last question. You know, Mr. Narayanan is there. I had a very interesting chat at the Business World Marketing White Books. I heard Mr. Sodhi, authentic discourse. It was something that is really lives back. Who are the leadership coaches that you consult with, or what are your role models? You know, what does Mr. Mariwala look at in the morning and say, you know, I got to learn from this person? I know you can learn from anyone in the room, anytime, anywhere. But are there icons that you look up to, role models that you take advice from? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
See, I don't have one role model because I believe in taking lots of things from lots of people, small things. But if I say whom I have talked a lot in my own journey, whom I have, I won't say consulted, but who has helped me in my own journey, he treats me like his son. He's Professor Ramcharan. You know, I spent a lot of time with him. But I meet him once in 6 months, or whenever he's in Bombay, he just calls me up and I just have a cup of coffee. And we spent a lot of time with my management team also. But I've been with him for the last 10-15 years, and he's helped me a lot in terms of improving body effectiveness, driving innovations, and more on the area of process.
Fantastic. And final word on demonetization. Is it good in the long term? Is it bad in the short term? Is it good in the short term?
As you rightly put it, short-term pain, long-term gain.
That's a very safe answer.
So
my viewpoint is on that in the magazine.
I think now, at least as of today, and I'm blunt about it, looks like short-term pain was underestimated and long-term gain seems to be overestimated.
Fantastic. On that note, we'll let Mr. Mariwala go for being candid and honest. Please give him a bigger round of applause than you did. You can stand up and give him a standing ovation. It warms up the blood in your body. So it's for your good.
Mr. Harsh Mariwala from Marico, Lifetime Achievement Award winner, IMA 2016, standing ovation. Thank you so much. Request